goes down, and that's what the fish eat and stay alive off of. And they send that fish into the United States. They spray it, what they call it gassing. That's the term they use. They take CO2 and spray it to make it look red and fresh. And they sell it in supermarkets all over the United States. Our fish, being fresh fish, can be under the brand of waterland fisheries. And we're up and running. As I said, we're going to be expanding, and we hope to be one of the biggest in the world. When we open the third one, another 280,000 square feet within about another 2.5 years. We'll be the biggest fish producer in the world at that point. And this will be the first time in the history of the world since we left Africa that black folk have a chance to dominate on blackness. And you see, and that's dominating. Yes, black folks, they produce magazines, they never were the dominant magazines. Yes, Motown produced records, they weren't the biggest and dominant. This will be the first time in the world that you all have a chance to dominate and control. And remember, own and control is the key. Don't waste your time talking about what you have access to. Having access to something ain't worth a quarter. That's what social
MMI, we expect the unexpected.
Access is like
I'll look into it.
Clerk. A blank clerk right now is a white-collar job, some of the lowest paying money in the country. But again, a bank clerk has access to other people's money, so they don't take a penny home with them at night. And because having access is no good, it's who owns and controls the money that runs that bank and has the power and wealth. I love all of y'all, and one last thing is that if y'all feel up to it, we're gonna need a lot of money for this lawsuit, but we're into these lawsuits on y'all's behalf. This is the only form of reparation y'all gonna ever get, in my estimation, because it's law based in the Constitution, those treaties. If y'all want to give something to Harvard to be appreciated, if you don't, I'll keep spending my little pennies to do the best I can for you. I love all of you, and thank you for coming out.
I'm serious, yo. I mean, black folk are tricky. I was going to drive in, get some chicken one day. The girl reached out the window and said, that'll be 510. So I said, is that your name on that tag? She said, yes. I said, how many children in the family? She said, 9. I said, what's your name? She said, no more. Black folk are tough. So the names playing, we don't understand the games. We get into a lot of trick bags because we don't understand names. And that's why in 1857, see, Harry Beecher Stover says, I'm gonna write a book called Uncle Tom's Cabin. And she wrote that book called Uncle Tom's Cabin. It's sort of reflecting tradition, how people are playing with names. But in there, the guy wound up being the mean, evil victim in there was Uncle Tom. Everybody jumped on Uncle Tom, especially about 1940. Uncle Tom is bad, Uncle Tom is this and that. Let me tell y'all something. Uncle Tom was not a bad character in that book. Please read the book. He was not a bad character. Now, at some point in time, he might have been just a little bit overly religious, you know, but he believed in God. He was very strong in his will to God. He's a strong man. He was very honest, you know. He was very gentle and kind. But everybody beats up on Uncle Tom, using the name. Well, you're an Uncle Tom. You're an Uncle Tom. You're not an Uncle Tom unless you have those qualities. Being a gentle, kind person, concerned about your people. The culprit, the real crook, the dirty dude in the book in Uncle Tom Cabin was a black guy named Sambo. See, Sambo is a real dirty dog. See, Sambo's always want to run around. He and that one of those names again, Gumbo. See? See, Sambo and Gumbo. You know? So Sambo is the one always running around behind with the white slave master. And see, they all beat up on Uncle Tom. Simon Green wanted Uncle Tom to do in the book was to make his women pick more cotton, raise the quota on picking cotton. And he also wanted Uncle Tom to squeal on where black folk would hide when they picked slaves and ran across the river. Or he wanted them to inform them when they were planning a revolt or anything else. And Uncle Tom said, I can't do that. He said, it's not in my soul to do that kind of meanness to my own people. And so then Simon Green says, you're going to tell me where they hide? He said, no, I can't do that. But Sambo said, yes, Master will agree. I'll show you where the coons hide. I'll show you where the niggas hide. They ride across the river. And that was a different kind of character. Black folks. Some sons said, I'm not going to beat these women. I'm not going to raise the pole on picking cotton. When the black person comes in short on his cotton picking, I'll take cotton out of my own sack and put it into a black person's sack so he can make the pole on get a whip. And Simon said, I'm going to break that up. And he told Sambo, you go in there every night and you whip him until he learns to respect me and do what I tell him to do and abide by me and do things in my interest. And so Sambo went in there every night and beat Uncle Tom. And Uncle Tom died first. And so he finally beat Uncle Tom to death. So I want y'all to know if I use his name, make sure you use the right name. Uncle Tom is a person who might be weak and even ignorant to some degree about what's going on. But he's not going out of his way to serve his people. A Sambo is a black person who gets in a position of responsibility, position of authority, and goes out of his way to inflict harm and hurt to his own people. Okay? And that's why I'm always defending a lot of these people. You know, when y'all start running down, y'all started bad-mouthing Clarence Thomas and George Conley and Alan Key, what they call them, Uncle Tom. They're not Uncle Tom.
Call them by their
You
proper
got to
name.
call them by their right name. Okay? Use the right name. Use the name of Shalala, name, call them what they got another way. Any of you find them Sambos, call them Sambos. Now, one of the things that's going across the country right now you all need to know about is that based on my first book, Black Labor, White Weapons, page 156 and 157, where I talk about meritorious manumission. Now, meritorious manumission was a system that was put in place in 1810, where the Dominant White Society said, wouldn't it be marvelous if we could build in control into black folks so we don't have to watch them physically? We could build a system that would monitor themselves, be responsible for their own behavior. Wouldn't it be marvelous if we could teach black folks how to see things through the eyes of whites and do the kind of things in the best interest of whites rather than their own best interest? And if they could demonstrate that, we'll either reward them by setting them free, giving them some land, giving them some animals, giving them clothes, and deliver them to food. That's called meritorious manumission, put in place in 1710, South Carolina, Virginia. And rewarded black folks for never having a group self-interest, always trying to fit in and function as an individual and do things against their own people. The meritorious manumission went into effect since 1710. It's coming up now for 300 years. There's never been a law on black folks have never smuggled away a county meritorious manumission. What's happening now in the country has been going on for 300 years. Black folks are paid, recognized, and rewarded for doing their own thing. Selling them out, getting news here, and nobody can be letting anybody trick you into hurting their own people. Okay? So even now they can do it on a religious basis. Now I hear people saying something about that. I've got to have a religious commitment to be responsible for everybody. After there's no way on earth that God is good. Thank you. How would the Lord tell you to forsake your own children and family, to leave your house, and go down the street and take everybody else's house, everybody else's children? That makes no sense to me, and I know that what I know about the Lord, never do that. Your first obligation is to take care of where you are first. Take care of your own children, your own family. And I keep finding black folks because of doctor, I got to be responsible for everybody. I got to take care of everybody. Folks take care of their own home. That is wrong. You know, it's non-spiritual. But what we're doing now is they're taking that about meritorious manumission and now putting it up to what I talked about in Power Number, which says that you must come up with a code of conduct. You start holding people responsible for how they treat you in their own neighborhood, how they love and care for and support each other, and whether or not people are selling you out, and how you go about doing it. So in some of these cities now, they're coming up with a policy that they're going to suck Black History Month. They're going to start closing out Black History Month with suck. Right now, Black History Month is nothing but a little ceremony coming together with a certificate. Talk about somebody's saying, okay, ain't gonna cut it. What these black folks say now is we only have 28 days in a month. That's I think it's gonna be good. On the 28th now, they're gonna start setting up what they call anti-meritorious manumission. They're gonna start setting up Sambo recognition reward days. Where in these communities now, they're gonna start recognizing the biggest Sambos in the community. They're going to recognize them. They're going around now. Detroit got one coming up on 28th, and I'll be there sitting in front row watching. They do it in Dallas, Texas, some other cities. And what they're doing now is they're going out and they take a picture of all the families No, they don't take all of them. After the ticket sample has been recognized, they then put his pictures on postal cards, like yard signs, when you run an election. And their statement on fences and walls and trees as Sambo of the Year. They have a program on the last year of the month like we have now. They have music, entertainment, and food. They come up like a war, Academy Award. This is now for the Sambo of the Year. And they build up to it by having a lesser honor called Hayward Shepherd Award. And they give out a Hayward Shepherd certificate for the wannabe Sambo. So they give out this recognition award, and they give out a plaque. And once they give out the plaque and the trophy, they then put it in a conspicuous place where it can be seen all year round. And those signs stay up all year round. So that way, a person who ran for an office and sold out his people, he can't run anymore. That he can show people why his pictures up on the wall. Then they're putting social sanctions against those people, telling them that once this person gets noticed and recognized as a Sambo, do not go into the room he's in. Avoid the rooms. Don't sit with it, don't talk with it, don't be in a room with it. You see him on the sidewalk, you go to the other side of the street. They finally institutionalized that so every year at the end of Black History Month, but it said for 27 days, here the blacks decided to be nice, be respectful, responsible in the community. The last is, and then here the church is left. They're going to pick the one. Now, the Hayward Shepherd Award, so you all know who Hayward Shepherd is. When John Brown, 3 blacks and a few whites, his own family, went into 3 blacks in Harper's Ferry, Virginia. And what John Brown was after, and here again, why isn't John Brown that white guy? Why isn't he pitch on the wall? Why did I never see John Brown on the wall? John Horace, 2 other whites that are very historical. Charles Sumner and Thaddeus Stevens, 2 of the biggest white legislators we ever had. Both 14th Amendment, 13th Amendment, the 15th Amendment, the 2 civil rights laws. Where are those 2 whites on the wall? Those are heroes in my book. How about Gabriel Prosser? The first black had a major slave revolt. And Jim Mark Vesey, where is he? Where is Nat Turner? See what they do, they pick the most fake, the most sanitized blacks who get their hands on and stick them on the wall. But those people should be honored and respected. Okay? But see, when John Brown put his little band together, he went into Harper's Ferry to feed black slaves. And what John Brown was counting on was to break into the military armory there, get some weapons and rifles, and give it to all black slaves. But he can't do it if he can't have a problem. He said, I can't do it unless all the slaves come out and get the gun. I need a black person, black visibility, all the slaves to come out of slavery and to get the gun. And he said, I gotta get somebody to carry something first. And Harry Sutton couldn't reach up this up in Maryland because she was sick. I think she had flu or something like that. She couldn't come. So then he went to President Douglas. He told President Douglas, I have to have a visible black in this country to kept calling these slaves out. And I'm going to break into the military armory with all these weapons. We call the slaves out. And we're going to walk in those mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, and you'll never get them out of there. Those slaves are armed. We met for a whole week with President Douglas, trying to convince President Douglas to come with him. And President Douglas didn't go. And President Douglas confessed his death there and died. And he was so scared. But yet he walked with us, you see. So John Brown asked him, well, aren't you willing to help your people? And President Douglas said, I'm always willing to fight for my folks. John Brown, the white guy, said, I'm asking about when you go to fight for him. I'm asking you to die. He said, no, sir, I ain't going to do that now. And so John Brown had to go into Harper's Ferry by himself, his own family, so he took up his daughter. John Brown had 21 kids, so he took some of his own children himself, and about 5 other black people and went in there and took over the army. He took it over and he had it. But when he went in that night, there was a black lady sitting on his porch. When he saw John Brown, people coming in town. He jumped up there, here's my chance to America was manumission. He jumped up and ran out the porch and won the town, and John Brown he ran across the road, John Brown was shot. He was dying and ran across the hotel, collapsed there, and the town went to the Monday hotel called Peter Section. Then this is kind of that kind of black and blue he made some prescription of a fight. So that kind of black and black should run, warn somebody. It hadn't quite gotten there yet. He was called a wannabe Sambo. Or soon to be. So they get out 80 seconds. Now they get out the Sambo. One fight to they gave out the Hayward Shepherd Award to the black police officers. They were talking about the Lord. They had to come with a tip. He goes to bed, gets the certificate, and they hand it to him, you know. He said, I want y'all to know I work real hard. And I'm honored and proud y'all getting this work. Because they give you no who hates in the wall. I'm going to wrap it up close. I know you're getting a little tired. After we think about finance, last time I found out very good, finance got business that she held in prison for a short while. You know finance that defeated white Alamo. He wound up going up to New York. He wound up in Staten Island, New York. He lived there for about 4 or 5 years. And he had an interpreter and secretary taking around trying to make some money for Staten Island. But he knows they really took Staten Island to different places around Staten Island, New York. Staten Island was early put out a little piece of plant. He would cut the plant like this so it was not secure. And the interpreter and secretary watched it for about 50 years. Staten Island left New York, Staten Island went back to Mexico. He actually got that together with he gave it to him. This guy took that plant, he was looking for it. Mission trying to put this kind of secret. Finally what happened was it came out to be a tool called chili butter. So Staten Island did this chili butter. And his name was Bruce called okay? And that's where the chili butter came from. Staten Island was with yellow over Texas and all the kind of stuff he found out there and very chili butter. And Wrigley then took it up to him with the secretary. Stuff in the cat Wrigley, there was something for chili butter came from Staten Island from the Alamo. Okay? Okay, the last thing I'll say to you now is this last point is on the slave trade. There's a very little secret. When you start talking about slave trade, don't focus all your time and attention, just don't pick on the European fight. Okay? You gotta know something else. There was more than just one slave trade going on. Yes, we had a slave trade that brought maybe 15 million black people out of Africa into the Western world, into the Caribbean, into Latin America, into Central America, into North America. That was coming with the European control. We had 9 countries that were involved in the slave trade. They had 3 slave trade routes. You had the Atlantic Ocean, there's not about the middle pass. The middle pass wasn't getting things up there. And the middle pass was coming across the Atlantic, everybody like the folks from see that on the wall all the time. The middle pass was talking about European slave trade. That was one. We had 2 other slave trades. We also had an Indian Ocean slave trade that was going up out of Africa, going around through India, Pakistan, down into Cambodia, Vietnam, and Ireland, the Indian places. That's why all the blacks down in the island. That's why all these Indians we see in this country, that are darker than you all are, most of them, they call themselves white. They see now that's Indian Ocean. That's why you go through all this Pakistan and India, that's dark sea, and Cambodia, the Vietnamese. They had an Indian slave trade going around that way. And the other one was going right up through the Central, and that was called an Arab slave trade. But in all these slave trades, the primary producers and procurers of slaves were basically Arabs. You know that. I know my history, some of your feelings will tell you, it's Arab. You cannot jump on white. Start talking about reparations from white. In Europe, let's also start talking about reparations from the Arabs. Okay? You got to get them to. And instead of they start talking about oil wells, you also saying, oh, oil wells coming out of Iraq, they become the black folk in America. Okay? Arabs started enslaving black folks, started again. They started going to Africa about 755 AD. But then when Musa made his mission to Mecca in the 12th century, when he's over Ghana and the Sanghees Empire, he did a big trade mission in Mecca. At that time, they were throwing gold all along the streets. And the Arabs got very interested in going into Africa to try to find where all the gold was coming from. And they started in the 1200s trying to take over Africa to get hold of all the gold resources like that in Africa. They didn't do it over 170 years. They finally did it in 1400s called Timbuktu. They took over Timbuktu, the Arabs took it over. So Arabs had been enslaving black folk, they were literally enslaving black folk for 1,300 years. They had enslaved over 13 million black folk, and the Arabs still enslaving black folk in Sudan, Ethiopia, okay? And they're still selling black folk over $475 feet. You start talking about reparations, go after Brooklyn, you know, and so fight to get into Africa. And the Arabs were involved black people. So, and you start talking about, yes, black Indian people were selling black. Yes, they were. But those were not selling what they black, they were selling what they were to Islam. That was the difference. They were selling for religious reasons, because Islam said that Muslims were not enslaved by the Muslims. So anybody was not Muslim was being enslaved. And they started pulling those blacks up to the Middle East, into the Arab slave trade. They were pulling up there so fast, the 2 things they wanted. They were looking for young black girls between the ages of 10 to 15, back during the slave period, and they were still using all that. They're breaking them in. At the same time, It reduces black men to being what? That's right. They castrate black men. Bob was one thing I found something like about 58,000 black men were castrated. They castrated black men in slavery on the slave trade so they could use them in the home for domestic service or as guards over harem to watch their women. But to make sure those black men did not indulge in any sex. So then the Arab women were castrated immediately and then put them into the army. And the military was training also using those women as leaders. These are the dirty little secrets you know from a religious perspective, about names, about individuals, currency, history. We have a very convoluted history. Okay? And you start getting information, make sure you get all this information so you go out to the farm and get it and go out and fight it. But black folk have made major contributions all over. I can get into all the things. I know you're a little tired now, but I love you for it. And I'm going to conclude here. And next time you invite me back, we'll pick up where I left off today. And as of this coming year, Dirty Little Secrets number 2 will be coming to you in the bookstore. Okay? Thank you very much.
Dr. Paul Anderson, who's founder, president of the Harvard Institute in Washington, D.C., is the author of several books, Black Labor, White Wealth, and his latest book, Dirty Little Secrets. It's a book about Black history, heroes, troublemaking. The reason why I'm Paul Anderson on this Issues and Answers show today is because he is qualified. He has been appointed as the Assistant Secretary to the Department of Commerce. He is the chair of the Board of Governors for Southeastern United States Economic Development. He was the Secretary of Education for the state of Florida. And he was the leader of the Action Council that played a very prominent role in helping Jimmy Carter win his first Congress. And he was also instrumental in planning for the Democratic National Convention and playing a role in the Democratic Party. Dr. Anderson, you are uniquely qualified to discuss the current question of race very briefly before we get into other topics. Will you tell our viewers that that's very good? We would like to thank you. Race is unfortunately not what we would call that now is social and economic issue. Race is another system. Slave, another group of people. It is a competitive situation between groups of people as the first thing. Secondly, we need to understand that black folks have never been able to fight racism in this country because we don't own, control a sufficient amount of anything to be a racist. So contrary to what you might hear occasionally on TV where they call a black a racist or foreign a racist, a black person cannot be a racist. You spoke about what we've done on TV. How would you suggest to our audience and to America how we should frame a debate on this issue on this discussion of race? How should we frame it? It should be framed in the context of the definition of the word. The word of racism is race, R-A-C-E. That means racism means competition. It means to be in a contest. Black folk are now competing between whites and blacks. It means one or the other and a loser. Black folk are never able to compete. And the consequence is whites have all the resources. Blacks are not because they're not even responsible to the white folk. When we talk about structural racism, that means that someone has control of so much wealth, power, and resources that black folk are being intentionally excluded out of competitive markets.
Is this a joke?
It's now launching this whole discussion so we should focus more on individual rights and individual concerns rather than concerns and race concerns. What do you say about that?
First of all, you never expect racism. Racism for one or the individual is found in family, nothing else. Now, the reason why we talk about individual is because it's as I said, they cannot be the victim of racism. So they don't understand
talking in the Constitution about individuals. In the right to speak talk about individuals. Black folks understand that their speech, their power, and their wealth is less how do you address the issue of race for the black race when there's so many other ethnic groups that are going in the country? How do we sort ourselves out? And how do we find a way to vote? So the first thing is to never compare or equate ethnicity with race or those ethnic groups that we're talking about, by and large, are subcategories of the European race itself. And the consequence is what we see as ethnicity. You find all those individuals can be French, German, Italian, Greek, but they're still classified as white in our society. Every individual who comes to this country as immigrant has been classified as white, raised in our probation in the 13 classified as white. Definitely the white is a very continuous change in the plan and make sure that white is or is tolerated. So the concept will always be the same black and white because the racism and racism that existed out there in the 14th century to be a competitive situation between black and white. Where do you say the house used to be in Oakland or around the country when they're trying to figure out how do they sort out black, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, and different groups of discussion of the complex of that, they must understand that that is a solution process. No one has ever enslaved in Jim Crow women, Asians, Hispanic, handicapped, midgets, anyone else. They systematically, customarily, so what you got going on is a conscientious programmed effort to make sure that anything pertaining to black folks is watered down and diluted and equated out by including everyone else. It's hard to rule in social dynamics because everything that pertains to everybody doesn't pertain to anybody. So what they want to try to do is make sure the dominant society feels no guilt and no responsibility for the position of black folks by equated to all these other groups. Do you think that the dominant society should feel some guilt? Yes, most definitely. And what about, I was riding on the BART train the other day, reading I think it was a Muslim newspaper, and the white man leaned over and said that slavery happened so long ago, and that he wasn't personally responsible, that maybe his great-great-great-grandfather might have participated in it. Why don't we just forget about it since he's not personally responsible? Why are we holding him responsible? For a number of reasons. First of all, that's a very, very naive and unwilling position for him to take. He is responsible because he's still enjoying the fruits and advantage of what his great-grandfather and great-grandparents did to black folks. He's living an advantaged lifestyle that comes from the enslavement and employment of black folks. In other words, it's like if I were to put a mortgage on a house, and I pass that house on to inheritance to you, and you receive that house, there's a bill to go along with it. And what has happened to black folk in this country, there's a bill attached. And just as Indians laid a claim against the land in America, that's why we give the Indians reparations in this country. We've been giving Indians reparations now for over 300 years. Because the Indians said, we laid a claim against this land for which we get Are you advised that they should give reparations to black people? Most definitely. And black folks are coming back now laying a legal claim against the government. Because you see, you never could have had enslaved in Jim Crow in this country for 460 years without the complexity of the support of government. Every level of government, city, state, county, federal government that participated, they're all equally guilty in the black world. But they are good people to black folks. And the conditions were not socially or economic. You have a specific black folks outside of the culture and just reparations, which looks like, I guess a lot of it. First of all, that has story that contrary to what everybody says, all the time about how bad off Indians are. I'm just trying to Indians that bad off as black folks with the Indians. I want the same status that Indians have. So I won't have to pay any taxes. I know I can get free land. I can get, free health care. I can have a federal Indian bureau. I'm a black bureau. Where federal Indian bureau in Washington, D.C. now appropriates an actuality of about $26,000 a year every Indian in the United States. And we're going to rise high of Indian in the United States. Let's take a third. You got about 150,000 per year. And that's States government gave them a pocket $170 million a year. I want to be treated like Indians. And what I want this country to do is to classify black and reclassify Indians, put them into a special category, and then turn around and give us land. We got a lot of land in the Department of Agriculture and Department of Internal Affairs, internal land ownership. I want black folks to go to land bureaus and get land in this country. We need a lot for it. Give us that land. I want black folks also be eligible to be able to get to have their gamma casinos on any land I can define as black land. Declassify all the ghettos in the United States. And now saying that any black living in those ghettos are now exempt from taxes, in fact, they can build casinos in there, just like Indians did. Now, the Indians right now got 237 reservations in the United States. They now have 252 casinos. Those casinos bring in profits alone, somewhere between $6 and $9 billion a year. Now, that is more money, Paul, than all 500,000 black citizens in the United States put together. So, classify my two divisions of Indians so bad off. And I want reparations like Indians.
What about the Congressman from Ohio that passed this thing that said that America ought to apologize? So they passed
What it does is it's been done to black folks. See, right now, they don't want to apologize because they're under specific reasons. It would violate the public policy on black folks. See, now, let me take a step and go back to that, okay? Now, see, the historical public policy on black folks started in 1666. They had a public policy on black folks in 1666 under 1966. That 1666 public policy on black folks was called the enslavement law. That's when all states began to enslave black folk in 1666. That public policy said black folk in America could be defined as an excluded, subordinated, non-compensated, non-competitive workforce. So the first policy is one force of white society. Let me repeat that so your listeners will understand what I'm saying. The public policy was initiated first on black in 1666. It came out of the doctrine of exclusion. It said that black folk in America should constitute an excluded, subordinated, non-compensated, non-competitive work group, a labor force for the personal comfort and wealth-building of white society. Now, that policy stayed in effect for 300 years, from 1666 to 1966. In 1966, black folk became obsolete as a labor class. For the first time in this nation, at the right at the conclusion of the civil rights movement, ironically, black folk became an obsolete labor force.
So you're saying that the 13th, 14th Amendment and the 15th Amendment were right?
At this point in time, yes, they're not using them appropriately. When black folk became obsolete in that 1966 call, what happened is public policy on black folk shifted. Since whites now have computer-driven equipment, they no longer need to touch to open doors, shine, shoes, wash dishes, and do anything. They then pick up computers to do the same thing. So now, to alleviate themselves of any obligation to black folk, they passed a new public policy on black folks. The new public policy is still currently in effect in this country. Says this, that white folks can feel no guilt for what's happened to black folks, no responsibility for what's happened to black folks or their conditions. And thirdly, they will accept, support, nor advocate any programs that will redistribute the wealth and resources and power back into the hands of black folks. Because at that point in time, whites in America in 1966 had become 50-foot economic giants, and black folks were 1-foot midgets.
Have you heard of Mr. Ward Connell?
I've heard the name, yes.
Have you ever had an occasion to appear on a program with him?
No, I have not.
Have you ever thought about debating?
Well, I could think about debating, but I don't usually debate people for very specific reasons. Because I feel that most of my opinions are personal opinions, therefore they're not subject to debate. Secondly, I learned one thing in life a long time ago, all my years in business and politics, is that if I can't convince somebody of the rightness and the accuracy and the timelessness of what I'm saying in 5 minutes, it's a waste of time. If I mess around with it, they get me to thinking the way they're going, I'll be going backwards too.
Well, I want to know if you can convince me in 1 minute about the Dred Scott case.
But the Dred Scott
case is related to the controversies of racism today and whether the issue of apology of blacks and slavery, that whole apology for slavery context. Can you briefly tell our viewers what the essence of the Dred Scott decision was, and is that in context related to today's need for an apology?
Yes, it is. The Dred Scott decision came out of a situation where you had a black man and his wife had left Missouri, went out of the state for a number of years, and he worked in labor for a white person. And he went back to Missouri. He claimed that since he's been out of the state, he's been in free territory, and in fact he was free. He should not have to be returned back to a labor or a coordinated or enforced labor status. And he filed a lawsuit in that effect that went into the federal court. In 1857, the court ruled that as a black man, this was an economic issue, that a white man had vested rights. He had investment, he had put money into that black man, so therefore that black man was property. Based on the Constitution of the United States that defines black people as a slave article, that they have no rights. And so the Dred Scott decision reinforced the United States Constitution, which said black folk are objects of labor, that they are not human beings, that they therefore they have no rights. And that was an economic decision. Now, what was supposed to have countered the Dred Scott decision was the first Civil Rights Act of 1866, which was put out by, which was promoted, I guess, by Congressman Stevens, Stevens, and Sumter. And what they said to reverse the Dred Scott decision was that you cannot free blacks. You cannot turn blacks loose in society unless you redistribute some of the wealth and resources to them. What they said is that either a black man is going to be a slave or he's going to be free. But without resources, with power and tools, without money, he is still a slave. And they approved that through the United States Congress in 1866. It was vetoed by Andrew Johnson, who came on later, vetoed it. But then Thaddeus Stevens and Sumter went back to the House of Representatives and got it reapproved again, which is still in effect. And what they said is that black folks' rights in this country give them economic rights, not a social right, not a civil rights. But then the 14th Amendment came up in 1868. They watered it down at that point in time just to get it enacted into the Constitution. And that time they left out all the economic rights. But the civil rights law is still in effect. And unfortunately, the white power structure in this country and the black power structure has never gone back to the original intent of overriding the Dred Scott decision with the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which says that the problem between black and white is economic. It's not social, it's not political, it's not interracial.
Speaking of 1866 at that time, I see you have this book here called Dirty Little Secrets.
Right.
And a previous guest on Issues and Answers was named Reverend John Collins. And he wrote a book on America's Best Kept Secrets. And his book deals with the thesis about the Freedmen's Bank. Mm-hmm. And you were talking about economics and freedom and the economic. Could you comment on the Freedmen's Bank, on how his thesis is that white Americans set up this Freedmen's Bank and propped up Douglas to take it over after it had failed. And in fact, even though it was a black bank, most of the loans went to white folks. Did you know anything about that historically?
Well, what happened? To go back to the whole Freedman Thrust, the Freedman Bureau came out of that 1866, the first Civil Rights Act, and the primary purpose there again was to bring about economic reparation for black folks in this country. But what happened within it, they only stayed in existence for about 6 years, functions about 6 years. So by early 1870, it was out of existence. But even in that whole thrust, what they did, they didn't focus on economics for black folks. What they focused on was just education, because the black code went into effect, and the conservative whites in this country killed the 14th Amendment. They killed the Civil Rights Act and said that the best was going to give black folks was an educational opportunity. So they created these schools, these black schools across the country. But now, what President Douglas got was an opportunity to do something in the banking industry. He was one of the few that got a chance to do that. But that was sponsored and supported by white money, just like Howard University came out. See, Howard University came out at the same time. Howard University was not initially created for black folks. It was created for the white, a lot of offspring of white congressmen coming to Washington, D.C. That's why they were only black schools that were permitted to have a medical school and a law school. No other black schools could have a medical school or law school. Because I just told you the national public policy was that black folks would never be competitive with white folks. You could not teach and train black kids to compete with white kids. Now, black schools would teach black kids to do things like social workers, athletes, or band players, or teachers.
So do you think that integration, this whole move for integration, you talk about the focus on education, is that a positive thing or is it a negative thing? And how do we deal with this notion of busing people chasing people for the suburbs, looking for an opportunity to take themselves.
But see, to be perfectly honest, even though I got enough degrees in human behavior, dynamics, sociology, I don't even understand that for us. Because the integration itself is countermanding any possibility of acquiring power and wealth. You cannot empower yourself at the same time you integrate. Integration always means disintegration. It means reducing yourself to a micro speck. Because in a society where the majority will win and rule and the minority will lose and suffer, why would anybody want to integrate? Integration is making black folk a guest. Integration means I will make you a guest. I will make you a guest in something that's owned and controlled by other people. I'll make you a guest in white suburbs, in white schools, in white businesses, in white organizations, in a white government. See, you get the black folk who never acquire wealth and power as long as they're integrated. And what's going to happen, though, with this whole concept of integration, is they're going to hold blacks in abeyance until the other groups, the competing groups come in and wipe them out and then push them into a subclass structure. And you mentioned the busing plan. See, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen happen. You see, my family is an example. Was part of the family that's owned the only black bus line that she's ever had in America. The only black started bus line we ever had in America. And it was in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. That was a state bus company. We didn't have just one bus, 3 buses, 5 buses, 10 buses. We had over 500 buses. And our buses didn't just service the black neighborhood. They serviced the black neighborhood and the white neighborhood. Period. We put the white bus company out of business there. And that was the Duke Power Company. Duke Power Company was named just like Duke University and Duke Electric Company. We put them out of business because we ran a very competitive bus line. Now, our bus line was vertically integrated for black folks, which gave us a power base, a wealth base, an employment base. We hired our own people. We bought our own buses, repaired our own buses, operated our own buses, had our own drivers, our own mechanics. And we serviced both neighborhoods. But what put us out of business was not our inability for us to compete. It was the fact that blacks decided to integrate down in Montgomery. And when Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks integrated the buses there, rather than going in and buying the bus land from the whites and taking it over and operating it under black control, they decided that it was much better in the context of integration, which was social. Let them socialize with whites. If whites sit on the front of the bus, we sit on the back, let's move up front with them, let's integrate with them, let's intermix and make it a social issue. And so black folk then moved from the back of the bus to the front of the bus. Like, who really cared?
Where is it growing number?
But let me finish the point now. But here's what happened now. That when that movement moved up to North Carolina, and came to North Carolina, the blacks in North Carolina said, we also want to sit on the front of the bus. And in North Carolina, we said, well, we don't have any white buses, we can sit on the front of the white bus. They said, well, why don't you all get some white buses and we sit on the front of it? So our bus company went out of business. So then they brought in white buses, now whites run the bus line. And the same thing happened to our black cab companies, and our black movie theaters, and our black restaurants. Everything black went out of existence because black folks see integration being a social issue, and somehow they feel that they get closer to the white society, they're elevating their status, and they're not, they're disintegrated.
There are some people in Oakland and there that feel that the clock is running out, that within a year or two that we will be economically irrelevant, and that we will, in a sense, considering the modern times we now live, we will be functionally back into an economic slavery on an economic plantation. Would you like to comment on that?
Oh, I most definitely feel that's happening. In this area, let's say the state of California, is a major part of that. You got about $40 billion black to generate throughout this state and throughout this city. Now you look around the city of Oakland, and wealth, again, what I'm saying, wealth is the problem. What do blacks own in Oakland? Tell me what do they own? Do they own and control anything of substance? Now you got all these other groups coming in here. They're in competition with you. They're not here to love you. They're not here to marry you. They're not here to socialize with you. They're here in economic competition with you. Now blacks have been here now. Blacks are the oldest population in this country. Now show me where blacks own and control anything.
And what do we do to compete? What is your prescription?
The first thing you must do is quit integrating. And quit trying to socialize and say you must go back. You cannot build wealth and power until you have a community. Black people in this country are the only people. We are the only people in this nation that do not have one single solitary community. You cannot acquire power and wealth without a community, and yet we do not have one single black community in America. That's from New York to San Diego. At best, all we have are a few residential areas, residential neighborhoods. See, to have a community, you must have three things that it calls. You must have a wholly independent economic structure, like you got one down in Asia Town. You must have a code of conduct on how you're going to treat each other, how you're going to interact with each other, how you're going to deal with each other, bargain with each other. And thirdly, you must have some form of governance. that will control and regulate the behavior of people in your community and deal with other organizations outside the community. Blacks do not qualify on either one of those terms. We do not have community. So consequently, without a community, you have no place to store your wealth, your values, your history, your culture, your employment, and your business opportunities.
Secretary Institute, or do you have any literature, or do you have any instructional materials that help you towards solutioning around community building? How do you put the building blocks of a community together in your analytical structure?
Yes, we present. Yes, we do that. As a matter of fact, I got a book coming out in probably December, January this year called Powernomics. And then what that book does, it picks up what black labor, white wealth left off. It is nothing. Just like black labor, white wealth defines the problem in America for black folks. Black labor, white wealth. Make it as clear as possible in the title of the book, Black Labor, White Wealth. You've never been able to find wealth. Now, the second book, Powernomics, also will define the solutions for you. Powernomics, which means you must have economic power to be able to compete. And inside that book, it tells you how you must change the paradigm. You must quit trying to go social, horizontal, and then social integration. You must start about economic integration. Instead of talking about civil rights, we'll start talking about black rights.
So the term you would probably agree with called integrating the money?
That's right. You got to move the money around. Let me give you another point. To show you, contrary to the myths in this society, black folk are in the same position they were. We talked about the Dred Scott decision. Black folk are ironically in the same position today as they were during the Dred Scott decision. And on the eve of the Civil War, Paul, black people in America, almost 100% were enslaved. Now watch my point now. Almost 100% of all the black folk in America were enslaved in 1860 on the eve of the Civil War. And they were only had 1/2 of 1% of the wealth of this nation. That means that you have 2% of the blacks were free, and those blacks had acquired 1/2 of 1% of the wealth in this nation in 1860. Now, here we are almost 150 years later, where you got almost 100% of all the blacks were allegedly free. And guess what the wealth contained is? 1%, 1/2 of 1%. Now, what's wrong with this picture? How is it that when 100% of the blacks were enslaved, you only had 1/2% of the wealth, and now 150 years later, and when you all 100 so be free, you still only got 1/2 of 1% of the wealth. And it's for a very simple reason: is that the wealth in this nation has been frozen since 1860 and moved. 87% of all this nation's wealth is inheritable wealth. It is frozen inside of white society. You cannot get it out.
I heard that you spoke at Allen Temple Baptist Church here in Oakland. I understand you're going to be meeting with Dr. Frederick Price. I don't know if you know of Reverend Floyd Flake in New York, and I know there are several ministers in Washington, D.C. you're aware of. What is your comment about the role of the black church as an entity to help facilitate this community building concept you're talking about, this whole powernomics notion, and the role that the church can do to help amass wealth and to create a mindset to start thinking about the world the way you're enunciating it in your books?
I think the church has a very vital role to play. And when I first conceptualized a move in this country for black folks to change the direction from where we've been going historically for a new direction for economic empowerment, the vision I needed at least about 5 major elements to help. One, I needed somebody who's very good, in legal. So we started filling the courts with some new legal challenges, not on social issues or political issues, but on economic issues. Going back to your Dred Scott decision, saying, do blacks have economic rights or don't? Point one. Point two, I needed someone who was very strong and funded in politics to work with me as a team member. Point three, I was filled one myself as an economist. Point four, I needed a religious practitioner. Why did I need a religious practitioner? Because I knew that our oldest business in the United States was the church. Now, it's the most viable, competitive one in the country. But what happens is that we need to be able to change the traditional role of churches. And going to why that's important is that I got to get black people and black ministers out of the traditional posture they've been in now. See, when the evangelical movement started in this country in the late 1790s, at that time black folk were only permitted to go to church occasionally to accompany in the complement of their masters. And black folk were denied access to religion. But in about early 1800s, when the evangelical movement picked up a lot of momentum, they said, well, maybe there's nothing wrong with us allowing blacks to have their own separate service and have their own ministers. They said, should we decide to do that, and this started about 1817, they said, here's what we must do. First thing we must do is that as a dominant white society, we must use religion now as a control mechanism. We must make sure that we appoint and pick and choose the blacks who are going to be the ministers, and they must be based on certain qualifications, Paul. So they said, we will license and pick the ministers. And those ministers must do, once we pick and choose and license, they must do three things. One, they must use the Bible. They must use the Bible to teach the black race that whenever the Bible talks about the slave and the master, it talks about the white master and the black slave here on earth. Point two, that they must teach black folk to be obedient and hard-working. Use the Bible to teach them that, and to accept their lot in life as a slave. And point three, they must use the Bible to teach black folk they will get their pie in the sky hereafter and after heaven. And that's where we can use that as a control device. And black ministers did that, and used that as a control device for black folk, heard the orders of the dominant white society up until after the Civil War. When one day, about 1877, about 119 black slaves on October 19, 1877, walked into St. Paul Baptist Church in Raleigh, North Carolina, and demanded that you ministers got to get off your backside and start trying to help us. We've been released from slavery, poor, penniless, ignorant, no land, no food, no animals, no money, no home, nothing. You got a responsibility to start to quit using the church to try to control us and do something positive for the community. At that point in time, the churches then started doing something actively based on that visit. They created the Benevolent Society. They started creating the first insurance company. The church then used their wealth and resources to create the first newspapers in the United States of any consequence, and so on and so on, start the first banks and everything. But what I'm saying is that now, today, I want to go back to those black churches, just as those 119 black slaves went in, and say to them, we need you, you got another obligation. Your new obligation is to move away from where you were even 100 years ago. You must now take on a new responsibility. Point one, you must begin to use your pulpit, to your nursing schools and start teaching black folks economic principles and capitalism in society, and how to acquire wealth and power and resources in our society. That's your obligation to teach every Sunday, and so that our young kids in the nursing school will understand this fully. So when they start attending nursing school, the first thing they'll learn is that in our society, that someplace, somewhere, a black person was producing something, and they'd actually be able to buy it from. They were loving and respected by church, things produced by their own people in their own community. Point two, besides teaching economic principles and brotherhood and how we must buy and support each other. Point two, we must now use that church to attract and draw in wealth into the community and lock it in. You must cease and desist and keep building bigger churches and taking the money from the black folks' pockets and getting big mortgages and buying bigger churches that go back to the white pocket. You must learn how to draw money into your community and lock it in and hold it. And once you lock that money into your community and into your church, what do you do with it? You then set up savings unions, set up credit unions. You set up opportunities for black folks to start business and borrow that money at low interest, long-term loans. So black folks can now subsidize business opportunities. Point four, you then begin to use your church and get out of churches and go out and create special kinds of programs to relieve the suffering of black folk in and around your church, to uplift your black community by using the resources that you have in that church available to you. And point five, you must also start getting out of the church and using this church to counter all the racism in the society that's coming from the right wing, off the right wing of the church, of groups that are preaching hatred and using the Bible to try to preach drive the spirit over the country. You must stand up in the church and take them on and say, no, that ain't going down anymore. You must use your church as a pulpit, a bulletproof hood, protect your people from white racism that have been in the church and always been in the church. Because since the first time slavery was organized and codified on earth, it came out of the Catholic Church in 1488, when the Pope put out an edict saying, if you're going to come up with new slaves on earth, don't pick Indians, pick black folk. And every religion on earth has codified and approved of and supported the enslavement, the exploitation, the Jim Crowism of black folk. That means Catholic, Protestant, Baptist, Mormon, everybody you name has misused black folk. Every religious sector.
Have you figured out a way in your studies of the Bible or religion to show black ministers and our churches how to use the scripture to teach all those positive things that you say the church should be doing? Is it scriptural backup or the way to use the Bible as a tool, as you say, to educate rather than to control?
Most definitely. And I can give you a lot of things myself, but rather doing that, I think some of the best examples come from Dr. Fred C. Price out in Los Angeles. That's what he's doing. Dr. Price tells me that if God told him to get out of the toolkit and come help me, and he's going to walk with me and support me all over his nation. He's done a phenomenal job of that. And he told me he's going to spend an entire year attacking racism in religion. And then go his whole sermon from January 26th of this year by going after it. We got Dr. Cherry in Washington, D.C. We have the next biggest church, black church on earth. Dr. Francis Price has the first biggest. Cherry has the second biggest. And Cherry is going after it on the East Coast, saying, yes, religion has played a major role in the institutionalizing of racism in American society against black folks. Religion has always made it possible to justify what they were doing to black folks.
The League of African American Voters, which sponsors the show, had, as I said earlier, Elder John Collins, a minister, who is essentially pointing out some of the same concerns you are. The League of African American Voters made a commitment, along with the Voices of Legacy, to produce a publication and to work with those trying to spread the information like what's in your books and what's in his book to every black church and minister in the country. Would you, since this program is going to be syndicated and sent all over the country, would you make a similar commitment and be allowed to be put on the spot to say that you will help make a contribution, an intellectual contribution to the content of such a publication so that every black congregation in America could read that message every morning and every Sunday morning?
Paul, you know I would, because I love black folks. And I'll definitely do that. So I guess the only concern I have is that we have so many black ministers in America. Let's be realistic now in the context of the racial reality that we live in. We have so many black ministers in this country who've been co-opted and been compromised out. They're presently being told either by the economic structure in their city or the political structure in their city that they are fearful of being black. There are a lot of black churches that do not want to be black. They do not want to talk about the racial realities. And
why is that? I don't think that is.
And see, I don't know, but I can take it back to I just told you about history plate. I can base it on that, but that's not it either.
You know, you sound like you're saying that in some senses that the church has functioned in this historical context of the meritorious manumission.
Yeah.
Let us explain briefly to our viewing audience what the meritorious manumission was, and is there connection to what those people who stood up in North Carolina in 1867, in that church, and did the ministry, stopped Centurion and helped develop the levels of power so we can achieve. Is there a connection to the two concepts?
I think there is, and there is a connection. The meritorious manumission policy came out in the 1700s. And let me take a few minutes to try to give you a history of that. Going back, let's go back to 1705, because it came out in 1710. Let's go back to 1705. In 1705, what happened was that there was a major effort out of this country to bring more whites into the country to develop this nation. At the same time, they knew they had to have a black labor force. And they began to pour into this nation as slaves. And what they said is we must have, first of all, let's have some control these blacks who come in the country. So in 1705, they passed what's called slave code of 1705. And if you probably heard of the same thing again in 1866 called the black code, okay? But slave code told specifically how black folks were to be treated by whites and how black folks were to be behaved in 1705. That was an external control. But by 1710, they said we got so many blacks coming to this country, so we got a good thing going. Because what we're calling all the Europeans is come to America if you want to get rich. You come to America, we guarantee you get rich. Because we're going to give you free land and free labor. You guys are going to get it. You come to this country not get rich, we give you free land and free labor. So whites begin to pour into this country, not looking for religious freedom, contrary to what the history books are telling. That's all myth and tale. They were coming to this country to get wealth and power. And as they began to pour this country in 1710, they said, you know what made it easier for us? Rather than exercising the external control on black folks, what if we could build an internal control against black folks? So the state of Virginia passed a law called meritorious manumission. And what they did is said, look, here's what we'll do. Let's make black folks responsible for their own behavior. And therefore we will reward and set free and give some compensation, some money to any black who would do one of four things. One, a black person that would protect a white person's property. Two, a black person who would save a white person's life. Three, a black person who would invent something that a white person would make money off of, or would improve conditions for blacks making money. And lastly, we'll reward him if he can squeal on, inform on, or tell on his own people who apply any kind of revolt to break free of slavery. And so what was called meritorious manumission went into effect by the state of Virginia in 1710. That built in internal control over the black folk. And the first black to get the award was a black called Nigger Willis down in South Carolina. And that was in 1710. Willie Lynch heard about it. He was operating down in Jamaica at that time. He heard about it. He said, this is a good thing. Let me put this in the United States. So I got a history of training and breaking in blacks coming into Jamaica. So the black slaves weren't brought directly into the United States. They brought into the islands. And they were conditioned, which means break them in, teach them certain kind of things, break them away from their own family, their culture, their race, and their gender. Then bring them to the United States. So Willie Lynch had experience in Paul. So he said, I want the United States to make some money. He came into Virginia and said, I heard you got a new internal control system up here. Let me show you how to put it into effect. I got a plan here. I guarantee you that if I put this plan, that's what you all want to do in effect, black folk won't get out of it for 300 years. And ironically, in about another 12 years, that 300 years will lapse.
It's interesting that you pointed out about Willie Lynch and this meritorious manumission. There's a mood growing in this country. I don't know if you're aware of it. I know you travel all over the country, but there's a mood in this country where a lot of black folks are starting to say, I'm tired. We are tired of the same old, same old. We hear the rhetoric of integration. We hear the terms busting. We don't have any economic wealth or anything to show for it. Is there an organization or is there a movement that you're aware of that's coming up with where blacks can start expressing this frustration and channeling it towards something positive?
Yes. First, I think the basis would be the movement that I've been speaking now for a number of years. That's called the Harvest Institute, coming out of on the Black Think Tank. Also, my Powernomics movement across the country. I think in terms
is that from the time in the Bible, the harvest is plentiful? That's right. The laborers are few.
That's right. Because the black is part of the time of black in this country. We've been the laboring class now for 450 years. Now let's come to the place of that. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever been speaking in the United States who are bigger trials than I do. In the United States of America. These blacks are coming out, not because I had as much to say, but because they're tired. They're tired of being leaders. They want to tell us, give us a new direction, give us a new concept, give us a new justification for going in a new direction. Give us a new paradigm, the way we should see things, the way we should behave, the way we should operate in a race-based society. And that's what we try to do. So now we're afraid we're moving very quickly in this country. And I can guarantee you very shortly, most black in this country will have no interest in integration. They have no interest in civil rights. They have no interest in voter registration. Because all those things, we're not playing to win in those areas. Integration, civil rights, and voter rights cannot solve the problem. Neither one can restore or redistribute the wealth and resources to black folks' hands.
What do you think if we describe that notion as separation, as if separation is some kind of disease? How do you respond to them if they say, oh yeah, you sound very intelligent, but you want us to separate?
No, I'm not asking you to separate. First of all, there's nothing wrong with separation. The issue back in integration was not separation. It was desegregation, which means stop the government from using its resources to hurt black folks. We never were interested in integration. That's the first thing. Secondly, is that they never apply that term to any other group. Why did they never apply that term to the Asians, to the Jewish community, and the Hispanic community, and the black? All over this country, I got Germantown, Frenchtown, Greektown, Little Italy, Little Havana, Little Cuba, Little Japan.
Is there something wrong with Little Africa?
Yes, but see, that's what I'm saying. Why is it? I know what it is. See, because everybody understands that the minute you start allowing people to do, you got the basis of foundation that is power wealth. So what they want to do is let the property keep black folks segregated because it's disintegrated through the integration process. But more important than that, I had a white fellow ask me back during integration once in the South. I was speaking and I was with the governor's office there and over education. This guy said to me about that. I heard you talk to me about what things concerning me. It's frustrating me. I don't understand it. I said, what's the matter? He said, knock it. He said, explain this to me. He said, on one hand, you got Martin Luther King running around the country saying he wants to integrate. He wants to be with whites all the time. I said, on the other hand, you got Malcolm X over here saying he wants segregation and separation. He wants to be with all blacks. He said, you all confused. So what do you want? Do you all want, which end of the stick do you want? You want the left-handed stick? You want the right-handed stick? I don't want either end of the stick. I don't want either end of the stick. I want my people to have the same rights, prerogatives, and privileges as everyone else. You don't ask anybody else. You don't ask Jews or Asians or Hispanics which end of the stick they want. Here's why I ask black folks that. I said, because in this country, Paul, the bottom line is this. In this country, the issue is not segregation on the right, it's not integration on the left. It's neither one of those two. And now with my civil rights organization, hear me clearly this morning, read my lips over your TV program. It has nothing in the world to do with integration or segregation. It has to do with aggregation, concentration of the wealth and power and resources to improve the lives of your people.
Why are some civil rights leaders so afraid to speak on national television or before audiences about aggregating economic wealth?
Because they're scared the white guys will cut off their money. Because they know that black folk only have 1/2 of 1% of the wealth. That they got a percentage of keeping wealth in their community. As an example, black folk right now have an annual disposable income of approximately $500 billion annually. That makes black folk about the 9th richest nation on earth. Now, what black folk are doing is they're placing through what we call flight of capital. They spend 95% of that money outside their own community. They spend another 3% inside their community in non-black hands, non-black businesses. Black people only keep 2% out of that $500 billion. That means they're trying to live off and survive off something like about $7 or $8 billion a year. 7 or 8 billion out of 500 billion. Now, if they listen to what I'm saying, and they kept all that $500 billion in their own community, where they historically have been making off only 4 or 5 billion, look at that. That means that black folks will have exposure to more wealth in 1 year. Listen to Claude Anthony, would otherwise take them 60
Under
years.
what you would call in your economic terms, the multiplier effect.
That's right. Keep the money in your own community. In other words, if the money is supposed to bounce 8 to 12 times before it leaves your community. See, that's what happens in the white community. In the white society makes the money bounce and pass through other white hands 8 to 12 times before it leaves. Hispanics, money passed 6 to 7 times through their hands before it leaves a Hispanic hand. Jews' money bounce 18 times before it leaves their hand. Black money does not bounce once.
Yeah, Mom. No.
I got some chicken and I got some brownies, so I paid the bill. Shoved and that's no cigarette back, so I gotta go to. We're going to sell it. I'll just go get this cat litter and the thing and go sell it. Right in and get it, okay?
Alright.
Come on, I'm bringing this stuff right now, okay?
Alright, I love you.
I'm gonna bring it on the bus, alright?
I love you.
Bye-bye.
So if I can get black folks to understand the importance of keeping money in their community and making sure that it bounces in other black hands before it leaves, that's a threat to the white community. You know what they're saying now? Oh God, right now any white person can make it.
Why would white people be afraid of? I mean, why would black leaders be afraid that white people would get mad at them for that concept?
Because they're more attracted to being accepted by the white society than solving the problems of their own people.
So they want white folks to pat them on the head.
That's right.
Rather than put some money in their pocket.
That's right. And so you know what's the best? There's a white politician, not a white politician, but a white political science professor at Harvard University named Andrew Hacker. He wrote a book called Two Worlds Separate and Unequal. And what he says, he doesn't understand, even as a white person, why black folk are so concerned about what white folks think about them. That black are almost paralyzed. They're afraid to make decisions that will enhance the quality of life for their own people because they're afraid that white folks won't like it. Rather than simply saying that they don't owe white folks any explanation as what they're going to do to try to improve the conditions of their own people.
That sounds criminal. And in the few minutes that we have remaining, I'd like to get a kind of quick response to about 4 or 5 questions that I want to ask you to sort of get on the record. Crime in the black community. What is your general thesis about a solution and a plan and how we should address that issue?
Very simple. Crime comes from a very simple problem. You steal it, you only 3 things a person can do in life to earn a living. 3 things, Paul. You either work on welfare, you steal. Now, if you've been denied the opportunity and the tools to work and acquire welfare, so you go on welfare. Somebody kicks you off the welfare, you go out there next level, you steal. Right now, the look combination of welfare money and the illicit activity in the black community, that's where most of the money is coming from. As a matter of fact, if I were to stop the drug dealing in Washington, D.C. in the black community, where I got about 26,000 young black men selling drugs around Washington, D.C. If I were to cut out the drug stuff and the crime around Washington, you know the unemployment rate in the black community go up by 4%. What options? Give them some options. They quit stealing. If you give them the same amount of wealth, what options do you say they should do? We started doing that. We started to make black folk job producers rather than job seekers. Take them to the wealth and they can build their own industry. Increase their own tax base. Give them the incentive to improve the quality of schools that relate to them being people who are going to be of worth. You know, in other words, improve the schools so that the schools are focused on economics rather than producing athletes and entertainers who are disenchanted with the black community and will alienate themselves in the black community.
This is probably the one area that we could probably have a whole other 1-hour show, and that's an area that you probably most equipped in, and education.
Yeah.
Very briefly.
See, the education system right now is dysfunctional in the black community. Going back to what I told you about 1868, through the Freedmen's Bureau, the school system in America was set up for black folks to to produce semi-educated black folk who will work as a labor class for whites. It's never been stopped. See, I don't know why black people operate the schools under a context and a premise that was set up over 150 years ago. You cannot do anything with the black schools until you find out where you want to go as a race of people. If we want to go to the moon tomorrow, then we decide that. Now we know how to change our school system. We go back to the school system that we want to go to the moon. Now, school, you rewrite your curriculum so you can produce more black astronauts, more black physicists, more black chemists, so we can go into outer space and live there. Now you rewrite your curriculum based on where black folk want to go. Black folks don't have a national plan, not the least of all an economic plan. So if you don't have a plan, the schools can't produce what you want.
In the book that you're coming out with called Powernomics, do you have an economic plan?
Yes, the Powernomics is an economic plan in and of itself.
So if we want to get the elements of the outline, so in the book that's behind you, to the left there, Black Labor, White Wealth, briefly for within the next 30 seconds, can you tell our viewers what is the general thesis of that book and why they should read it?
That book does what no other book has done in history. It summarizes what other people finish for thousands of books about black folks. It tells you exactly how we got into our dilemma and how the wealth has been maldistributed and what the major problems are in the society why we can't get out of it. At the end of the book, it recommends a general broad category of all the solutions we need to be looking at very quickly, the timetable we operate under. The new book, Powernomics, will give you all the solutions. And the other book you got in your hand called Dirty Little Secrets, I give you all the little known facts of the history about what has happened to black folks that everybody wants to keep hidden. This is called Dirty Little Secrets about black history, black heroes, and other troublemakers. That's the book. That is a powerful little book and telling you, giving some indication of why you can't solve the race problems in America.
I was reading this book and I want to know, why did you draw a handkerchief on the head of our Supreme Court justice? Don't you think that's kind of irreverent to be?
You mean Clarence Thomas?
Yes, sir.
Well, I didn't really draw it on there. You know, it's on there. That means that's an angina head rag on his head. That was put on that by Emerge magazine. They gave me authorization to reprint it as one of the dirty little secrets. He also, Clarence Thomas shows up twice in that book. He shows up again as a blonde jockey, where he's standing out, with the palm up like this, holding a lamp for White Society, carrying their water for him.
How does one get in touch with you? Can you give a phone number that we will also run across the bottom of the screen as to how someone can call you? And if you could slowly tell your address and the name of your organization. You may not be used to self-promotion here. But can you give your phone number, your address, and the name of your organization very slowly so that our viewers can write it down?
Okay, let me give you my address first. It's the Harvest Institute. And the Harvest is H-A-R-V-E-S-T. Harvest meaning bringing the fruits to bear to the table to eat time to share. The Harvest Institute. You send in inquiries and writing to 730, that's 11th Street, Northwest. That's in Washington, D.C. That's 20001.
And what floor is it on?
And that's on the 4th floor. And the telephone number there is 202-496-1622.
Do you have you better repeat that phone number again.
The telephone number, when we do, please call us. Even and especially if you plan on making some donations, because we are a tax-exempt, non-profit institute, and anything you send us, you can write off your taxes. What we're going to ask you to do is send us any kind of a contribution and donation that otherwise you're paying in taxes. Send it and call us at 202-496-1622. That's the Harvest Institute. We need your support. Also, we'll send you a list of the materials we put out. When you join Harvest Institute, there are a lot of benefits you get, including regular YouTube stuff with all these issues.
Now, this is an interesting outing. You would tell me that if I send you a check for $100, I will be able to deduct it on my federal income tax as a tax write-off, where you would teach me how black folks can gather their money together. The government will allow you to get a tax.
That's right. That's why the major white corporations they don't pay the money. And what most people understand is we don't let the National Black Think Tank is putting out proactive, putting out statistics for black folks empowerment. But on the other hand, we're running against 1,200 white think tanks that have over 5,000 employees and a $500 million budget.
Have you exposed your concepts to some of our black entertainers and athletes and notoriety folks?
Yes, they're scared. They say things like, Dr. Edson, what's the name of the organization? Harvard Institute. They said, what is it for? I said, Black America. They said, who's going to operate? We said, black folks. Who's going to benefit? We said, black folks. We're too black. Now, how does something get to be too black? I don't know. Nothing is too Jewish, too Indian, or too Asian. But anytime again, I told you, it comes up putting black folks together, it becomes too bad.
What about some of the rap stars and some of the musicians? You mean to tell me they say the same thing?
Yeah, a lot of them do, because even a lot of personalities on TV, they say the same thing. What they're saying is that basically is that they do not want to offend whites by doing anything to black folks.
What about politicians and politics? Farrakhan said at the Million Man March that the day is over just electing somebody, just because they tell us that black America needs to develop a black agenda. What is do you call Powernomics a black agenda? And if so, how do you apply it towards politicians in general and politics?
Well, in effect, I wrote it to be a black agenda, but unfortunately, it can be used. You know what? Some of the biggest buyers and materials of my books are Hispanic. Ironically, what I'm writing in the book, they're trying to use it against black folks. But Farrakhan was absolutely right. See, what black folks fail to do in politics is never having gotten a contractual understanding between anybody and all. I tell black folks never, under any circumstance, vote for any person, black or white, until you got a commitment from them about what they're going to do for the black community. Not what they're going to do in terms of hiring a secretary or receptionist or black secretary. No. One black person is not put in all. What are they going to do to deliver back to the black community? Politics is a process that decides who can get what benefits out of life is based on quid pro quo. You take care of me, I take care of you. I've never yet seen black folks demand a black politician accounting for what they're going to do to the black community. And once you put a person in office, even your current mayor in their notice, you must ask again, what are you going to do for black folk in this city? Then secondly, you must call them as past after 1 year time. So you come back before us, you tell us not anything social. You tell us that you read us a list of all the money that you have redistributed to the black community. You name all the black millionaires and all the major black businesses that have started since you've been in office. They can't do that, you pull them out of office.
And does this auditing of elected officials, should this function apply to both black and white, male and female?
Male and female. You go after all of them. You use that devices, you like referendum, voter referendum, recall, and a whole bunch of new techniques you can do to start pulling them out of office. Do not support anybody that will not support the black community, regardless of their color.
Well, on behalf of the League of African American Voters, we hope that this show will inspire a real and sincere dialogue on the issue of race. And Dr. Claude Anderson, we want to thank you for exposing some of America's dirty little secrets.
So thank you very much for inviting me, and I certainly hope that I look forward to giving that a great support to the religious sector in this city, and the blacks in this city. I do not want blacks to become underclass. Blacks have about a year and a half in this city to pull it together, or they're going down to the county.
Thank you on behalf of the League of African Americans.
Thank you.
I come to you this morning to talk to you about something that's very close to my heart. And I'm not here to be divisive. I'm not here to offend anyone. I'm here to speak to you as Geronimo talked to a general in the 1880s in the mountains not too far from here. When he met with him at a peace conference, a powwow, and said to him, he said, this morning, I want to speak to you the truth. And I want the truth to be like arrows that go out from my heart and my soul to your mind and your body. I want each and every one of you to understand what I'm talking about this morning. See, I'm very profoundly disturbed. I just left Tuskegee. The black folk are suffering. And I'm very disturbed when I go across this country. And I cannot find the sensitivities and the concerns about black folks in America that I want to see. And the only minister that I have seen and heard from any place in this nation has been Dr. Price, that is telling you what you should be listening to. And I've spoken all over this country and all over the world representing presidents and governors. And he is the only minister I've run into so far that violates all the social norms that were exacted on black folk back in the 1790s as this country began to move into the evangelical movement. And they decided in the 1790s that it is now permissible to have a black preacher or to have black folk invest themselves into a religious experience. And the establishment in this country says, yes, we will let blacks have their own separate services. But we must pick the minister. We must pick a minister that is controllable. Tell him exactly what he's supposed to do. We will license the minister. So by the 1720s, the entire establishment in this country set up a system saying that any black minister in this country, he has an admonishment. He must teach black folks three things so that religion will become a control device to help us maintain the status quo of black folk in this country. He says every black minister who we select or we license, they must teach black folks. First of all, we talk about the Bible. We talk about the master and the slave. You are talking about the white master on earth and the black slave. You must secondly teach black folks to be humble and obedient and accept their life lot, and to be respectful and loyal to the white servant, to the white master. And lastly, you must teach black folk. You must teach black folk that they will get buried in the hereafter in pie in the sky. And that went into effect in the 1820s, and every black minister fell in line and did it. And it stayed like that until after the Civil War, when 119 blacks on October the 19th walked into St. Paul's Church, Baptist Church in Raleigh, North Carolina, and said, we can't take it anymore. And black folks are suffering.
You can't teach us this bullshit.
And said we must at least have 40 acres and a mule or something. You cannot just turn us loose free and say we're free and give us non-economic emancipation where we are penniless, poor, impoverished, sick, broken, boxers, uneducated, ignorant, homeless, nothing, and say we are now free. And that is the only minister, not your wife, Dr. understands that. That you got an obligation in the ministry to go above and beyond that punishment put on black folk over 150 years ago.
You know,
now, in this area, maybe somebody don't like it. I don't care. I learned to respect the man as different, and I fell in love with him last night different. And if I can ever be of any help from him, what he's trying to do, got my help and my institute help.
Never said anything about that.
And so this morning, and the time has been allotted to me, I want to talk to you, as I said, like Geronimo, but I want to be like the great European philosopher Diogenes, who said he walked through life with a lantern in his hand, and I want to lighten the darkness without a search of an honest man. But like Diogenes, I want to walk through this country, through Black America, the new movement I'm trying to create. I want to find not necessarily an honest man. I want to find some black people and some white people that understand the problems in America. I want to find somebody that understands in America that contrary to popular myths, black folk are not progressing in America. Black people are going backwards. In comparative proportional terms, black people in America, where you were in 1850 in this country, you have not progressed. You're still in your same dilemma, contrary to anybody tells you. And you see, I want to find, like Diogenes, I want to find a black person that understands that black folk are not progressing. But more importantly, I want to find somebody, black or white, that don't mind being black. They want to talk about the racial problem in society. I can't even find that with my lantern in life. We got 3 or 4 major black organizations in America. No, 3. The Urban League, NAACP, the Rainbow Coalition, and one other one. I can't even get them to focus on the issue of black folk. One wants to take care of cultural diversity. One wants to be talking about multiculturalism. One wants to talk about minority issues. The other one wants to talk about oppressed people. And I asked them across the country, why don't somebody talk about black folk and the problems of black people? And so I'm looking like Diogenes for a person that understands the history of this country, because I want to understand the problem in America. And the problem is not what you all have been taught. The problem is not poverty. It is not unemployment. It is not unwed teenage parents. It is not food stamps. It is not public housing. It is not drug abuse. Black people only got two problems in America. The first problem is that you've been systematically locked into the lowest level of a real-life monopoly game. That's your major problem. And that's what Dr. Price directly and indirectly is telling you about every Sunday morning. You have been locked into a no-win situation. That means that all the wealth and power in this country has been spewed over 400 years systematically into the hands of the majority white society. Black people don't own a significant amount of anything to be able to control their lives. Whites in America right now control almost 100% of all the income, the wealth, the power, the resources, the businesses, the privileges, and all levels of government. You cannot compete. And I'm tired of hearing people tell black folks, why don't you compete? Compete with what? What are you going to compete with? They keep saying, well, black folks can run fast and jump higher. That won't make it. It won't make it. And let me tell you what monopoly is. Monopoly means that all the wealth and power is skewed based on skin color. One white, yellow, brown, black. And if you've never played the game of Monopoly, let me show you how it's played. I play it every year. It's my family. It means that everybody, when you sit down, you're given a certain amount of money and wealth. Black people never got their 40 acres of land. Now we're playing this game of Monopoly. And let's pretend for a second in this auditorium that whites got $1,000 to play the game of Monopoly. Asians got $500. Hispanics got $300. Indians got $100. And blacks got $50 to play the game of Monopoly. Now, never having gotten your 40 acres of mule, you don't own any land. You don't own any land. And if you don't have the money, you can't put in houses and hotels on the land. You got lucky and had some. Now, when you roll the dice in our hypothetical game of Monopoly, and you roll the dice and your number comes up on the wrong piece of property, what happens to you? You must either go bankrupt or go to jail. And that's the monopoly game that black folk are locked into. And when that happens to you in life, when you only got two alternatives in life, to either go bankrupt or go to jail, that is called an underclass. And black people in America are systematically being forced into a permanent underclass. We will be a permanent underclass by the year 2013. And you got about a 2.5-year window left. If we don't get the very specific ratings and start to come up with a very cogent strategies, comprehensive strategies of doing some things that focus on that number one problem of redistributing the wealth and power back into the hands of black folk, you can hang it up. Don't worry anymore about retiring. After the next 2 or 3 years, don't worry anymore about going to college. It ain't gonna work. The doors are gonna slam shut on black folk. And what I'm telling you right now is we're gonna have to get it together fast. And to do it, you must first understand what I'm gonna be telling you this morning. And my speech is gonna be divided into 3 parts. I'm first gonna tell you about the problems of black America realistically. As Cochise and Geronimo said, I'm gonna give you the truth about the current state of black America, point 1. 2, I'm going to analyze it for you. And 3, I'm going to give you the solutions that we can do together to come out of it. Okay? Now, we got a very serious problem in that monopoly game. We're going to have a converging forces, social forces coming across this country. About 8 major forces that will push us into that understructure, that underclass position. And let me talk about 3 or 4 of them right quick. First thing, across this country, you're going to have an increasing amount of conservatism. Now, I want you all to understand up front what conservatism means. So I don't care whoever uses that word, you know what it means. Conservatism is a new code word for anti-blackism.
What is the name of it?
Anti-conservatism.
Except now, a conservative can stand right in your face and tell you and confess that he's conservative. It means he is a racist and not tell you he's a racist. Racism right now, we got racism all over America and I can't find one racist. And what I'm telling you right now, before my book even hit the market, I'd already predicted in my book that you're going to have a cutback in welfare. I predicted in my book they're going to catch people like in Texaco and they just caught Avis discriminating against blacks in North Carolina and South Carolina. Huh? They just caught Circuit City, Sam's, Walmart. I knew they were going to try to cut out single mammoth district. I knew they were going to go after affirmative action. But in the houses, in the hotels, on the lands, you got lucky and had some. Now when you roll the dice in our hypothetical game of Monopoly, and you roll the dice and your number comes up on the wrong piece of property, what happens to you?
You either go to jail.
You must either go bankrupt or go to jail. And that's the monopoly game that black folk are locked into. And when that happens to you in life, when you only got two alternatives in life, to either go bankrupt or go to jail, that is called an underclass. And black people in America are systematically being forced into a permanent underclass. We will be a permanent underclass by the year 2013. And you got about a 2.5 year window left. If we don't do some very specific things and start to come up with some very cogent strategies, comprehensive strategies of doing some things that focus on that number one problem of redistributing the wealth and power back into the hands of black folk, you can hang it up. Don't worry anymore about retiring. After the next 2 or 3 years, don't worry anymore about going to college. It ain't gonna work. The doors are gonna slam shut on the black folk. And what I'm telling you right now is we're gonna have to get it together fast.
Ooh.
And to do it, you must first understand what I'm going to be telling you this morning. My speech will be divided into 3 parts. I'm first going to tell you about the problems of black America realistically. As Coty and Geronimo said, I'm going to give you the truth about the current state of black America, point 1. 2, I'm going to analyze it for you. And 3, I'm going to give you the solutions that we can do together to come out of it. Okay? Now, we got a very serious problem in that monopoly game. We got to have a converging forces, social forces coming across this country. About 8 major forces are push us into that understructure, that underclass position. And let me talk about 3 or 4 right quick. First thing, across this country, you're going to have an increasing amount of conservatism. Now, I want you all to understand up front what conservatism means. So I don't care whoever uses that word, you know what it means. Conservatism is a new code word for anti-blackism. Okay? Except now, a conservative can stand right in your face and tell you and confess that he's conservative, which means he is a racist and not tell you he's a racist. Racism, right now, we got racism all over America, and I can't find one racist. And what I'm telling you right now, before my book even hit the market, I'd already predicted in my book that you're going to have a cutback in welfare. I predicted in my book you're going to catch people like in
who's going to pay my rent?
And they just caught Avis discriminating blacks in North Carolina and South Carolina. And they just caught Circuit City, Sam's, Walmart. I knew they were going to try to cut out single mammoth district. I knew they were going to go after affirmative action. I knew there were going to be riots all over the country that were coming. I talked about this a long time ago in the book.
I'm waiting
that's what conservatism means.
Like that one by me on the phone.
The word to conserve.
It's coming
conserve means the
I don't
whole
care
of
if you
what
got 2 of my children, you still sleep.
All those who ain't got, as my mother said in the 3rd grade education, you ain't gonna get. That's what conservatism means.
So he's also
and it means nothing else. It means maintain the status quo. It means use every device that you have to give the pretense that what you see is normal. And right now there's a conservative movement in this country going from the White House across this land to the Congress that says whatever exists all over this nation and in Los Angeles is normal. They want you to believe that it's normal to go out to Los Angeles and see all the drug abuse and all the crime, all the poverty, and all the suffering of black folks lying and sleeping on the street, drugged out, doped out. They want you to believe that's normal. That's what conservatism means, maintain the status quo. It also means to reinstitute white authority, white values, so you hear them talk about family values, all those other kind of things. And also white superiority. So people start talking about they want to go back to be a conservative.
That's what we
you
gotta
ask
get.
them, what are you trying to conserve? When my people don't own anything and you own 100%, what have I got to conserve? When you hear blacks going around screaming about they're a black conservative, you ask them, what are you conserving? Tell me one point in history that you found something that you want to conserve first.
What are you conserving?
Don't let people run that game on you about being a conservative. You tell them, fine, you don't even tell me what are you conserving. And when my people never had anything, why would they want to be a conservative? So the biggest problem we're going to have is conservatism when it goes across this nation. And we as black folk got to understand, now it's not all whites that are conservative. There is an element that's got everything. That want to make their greed over need. They want to hold on to everything.
Yeah.
And so, we're going to have a massive flow. Everybody's been talking about conservatism. You're going to see people politically switching, talking about they're moving to the far right. And what we have to do is understand that, and that's going to create major problems in this country. One, you're going to not only see an increased amount of negative hostility towards black folk, every piece of research in the country tells us that, even from the Jewish organizations.
Yep.
That you're going to see more anti-blackness now and in the future than you've ever seen in the last 60 years since we left the civil rights.
I've seen it already.
Two, you're going to see, we see organizations all over the country now. Paramilitary,
Paramilitary,
Viper, Freeman, Skinhead, Baldhead, all kind of groups. That are organizing and optimistically expecting and anticipating a major clash in this country between blacks and whites. We've had 28 states in the United States now to pass concealed weapons laws. That's specifically so that the white contingency groups can carry weapons and arms all the time. That's why you have such a major thrust in the National Rifle Association. That's why they're controlling most of your politicians. That's why you have such a major anti-governmental effort in this country. You hear people say, we want to go back to states' rights. We're anti-government. We want to get rid of the federal government. It's not that they're against government. They know that in history, the only people who've ever saved black folk has been the government, twice, the federal government. And if you eliminate the federal government by downsizing the government, black folk no longer have an ally.
Thank you.
And if a clash occurs, you got nobody to come to the rescue a third time to help you. You see, you're pulled out of slavery by the federal government. You're pulled out of Jim Crowism by the federal government. There are contingencies in the country that says the next time there won't be a federal government to pull blacks out. And you hear them talk about their anti-government, that's what they're talking about. They're not against government. And later on you hear me tell about why they're not against government. Because you see, primary wealth in this country, the primary responsibility of government is to move wealth and move power. And that's how the dominant society got its wealth and power, by using government. But now they'll make sure black folks don't have access to it. That's why they're anti-affirmative action. I'll get into all that a little later. But so the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that are going to drive us in this underclass structure is conservatism. The second thing is that you're going to have an unending influx of immigrants into the country. And that's what Dr. Price is talking about. And nobody, no black politician, no black organization wants to deal with that issue. They will avoid it at all costs. Even though in their hearts they know that's one of the biggest problems for black folks. We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have